Hi, everyone. Stephanie here from Vegan Mainstream. I hope everyone is as excited as I am about getting started here for Webinar Wednesday. We have a pretty good size actually group that's going to be joining us tonight. So I always get excited when we have these webinars because it's such a great time to talk in detail about something specific, and also in this case, talk about something very, very tangible. Um, when it comes to preparing for the holidays, I know for some of you, you may be kind of feeling like, oh, this feels kind of early, Steph. Can't I just worry about it next month? And the reality is, this is the time to do it. And we'll talk a little bit as I go into the presentation tonight about why timing is so important and why it's really important to start planning now and acting now. I just want to kind of set the stage for many of you that for a lot of businesses, even big businesses, is that the holiday season can truly be a game changer in a business. It can really be a time where you can really drive in a high level of revenue. And because of that, that's why I really think the earlier you can plan, the better. For some businesses, they've already placed their advertising and all of that because most magazines have already set their deadlines and so forth for many of their holiday editions. So for some people, they're like, hey, Steph, this is too late. I can't believe you're talking about it now. And then some of you may be like, oh, can I just get through Halloween and all these other holidays and get through October before I do it? So I know we're all going to be in different spectrums here, but I think the key is to really think about how the holidays can really transform your business. And this is across the board. This can be people who have more of a retail-based business. So whether you have a brick and mortar or if you do online sales, this is also just as important when we talk about service-based businesses. Many of you out there that are coaches, many of you out there that are do a lot of consulting. So it's really your time. Maybe you're doing grocery store tours, maybe you're kind of teaching people how to label read and all those different types of ways of maybe transitioning to a vegan and plant-based diet. This is also a really big and important time for you, as well as you have a little bit of an extended timeline, many of you, because as we wrap up the holidays, what will happen is we'll roll into the new year. And the new year is such a huge time for health topics. It's such a huge just space where people want to get healthy, want to eat better, want to do all the things that they said they were going to do last year. They're going to recommit to it again in January. So I do want to kind of set the stage that this is super, super, super important and super impactful, no matter what business you have. Please, please, please don't get caught up in or think or kind of count yourself out or think, really, can this really work for you? Absolutely can. We'll talk more about it tonight. We'll talk more about the tools, the things that you should be doing, prepare, and some of the ways you can get the most out of the holidays tonight. So with that, let me take just a quick breath and make sure we have good on sound. Some of you may be watching on our website. I think I was having trouble with the Facebook commenting box on our website. So if you are there and if it is working for you, great. Just pop in a quick question. Just let me know if you can hear me and sounds okay. If it isn't working on your page, we're also going to be taking questions on Twitter. We're using the hashtag VeganBizHelp. So VeganBizHelp. And we'll also be using VM Marketing. As well as, since our commenting does not seem to be working as well as I'd hoped on our website. So if you do have any follow-up questions, you can always shoot me an email. Many of you got a reminder for tonight's session, so you should be able to just hit reply on that message and let me know if you have any follow-up questions. Okay, so with that, again, let's just check for sound. Can everyone hear me? Everyone able to see my slides? Just let me know. Katie, if you're out there, you can also just tweet it for me while we're working on getting the website up and running. Okay, and we will get started here in probably about 30 seconds. Just want to make sure from a logistics standpoint, we are all set. All right. It looks like everyone can hear me. It looks like sound is good. It looks like we've already started tweeting with all of our lovely hashtags. It looks like you guys are all set. Once again, if you are watching this on the home page, Once again, we apologize. For some reason, the Facebook comment box is down. Hopefully it will come back up while we were having our wonderful session today. If not, you will be able to ask questions via Twitter or you can email us afterwards. Okay, so let's dive in without hesitation. So let's talk about timing and why timing matters. I gave you some examples earlier where I was talking about timing from the standpoint of this can be a huge season for you to kind of turn on that money faucet. But when you want to try to turn on that money faucet for the holidays, there's a couple of key things you got to make sure that we have some good understanding on, or you spent some time in. And this is before we get into promotions, what's on sale, how to balance sales, how to put packages together. Before we get into all that nitty gritty, there's some big timing questions. Now, the first one is, when do customers use your product or service? Because what we want to make sure is that your promotions are designed around it. Now, for many of you, it is very, very, very simple. You're selling things like clothing, as an example. So when you think of this holiday season, many of you are going to kind of hone in on the shopping season kind of around Christmas, as an example. But I also want, for many of you, you may be in service-based businesses. You may create products that are support products. Maybe you do packaging. Maybe you do design work. Maybe you do copywriting and so forth. So if you do offer those services to other businesses, what I want you to think about here is your timeline might be a little bit sooner than the holidays. You may need a promotion that's going to come in place at the end of October and beginning of November to help the companies that need to put these things in place. And I bring this up because I think sometimes we all hone in on specific dates and the same dates, not realizing that things might have to change slightly because of the type of product that you're offering. If you offer a product that's really, really, really big for the Thanksgiving holiday, then we have to move up your timeline. I know it's getting a little tight with this being October 7th, but the key here is that maybe many of your promotions are going to start early November, and you're going to lead into Thanksgiving as your big anchor date, as opposed to other people, maybe their anchor date is going to be the Christmas holiday. Okay. The other thing to think about is inventory and service redemption. And what I mean by that is, if you do sell product, if you are a small business, maybe you make your own product, you manufacture it out of your garage, as an example. What you want to do is take this time right now to get an idea or estimate how much inventory you're going to need. For many of you, especially that are bigger and maybe have inventory that you have to get into distribution channels, whether you're getting it into a Whole Foods region, maybe you have to get it into certain stores. And even if you're a small business, I don't want you guys to think this is only for the big guys. Even if you're small and maybe you're working maybe you have the West Coast that covers your clothing line, as an example. We want to think about how much inventory do you need to be able to get to your stores, so they have it in time for the holiday season for any of their promotions, and B, how much inventory are they able to hold? For many stores or many places, or many of you who do a lot of distribution, what you want to be careful of is that your customers or your stores are going to kind of be managing inventory, like how many do I keep on hand versus how many are selling, and so forth. So you may have amount of inventory that's pushed into the distribution channel, but then you may hold back an amount of inventory kind of in your warehouse, in a sense. And like I said, your warehouse might be your garage, but hold that back so that if there is a surge, or if there is some huge activity in any of your distribution channels, any of your stores, any of the places that carry your products, you'll be able to quickly get that to them. Now, for some of you, you have perishable items, and maybe that's not the case. You're not able to kind of stockpile it. But if that's the case and you have a perishable item, maybe your item, especially if you don't use preservatives or something, maybe it's got a 10-day shelf life or a 30-day shelf life. You want to do the same thing. Get an understanding of what your inventory was last year, what were your sales last year, and create kind of a turn on how much backup inventory do I have versus how much inventory do I need to push into the channel. For those of you that are selling your own product, if you need to get t-shirts in because you design your own t-shirts, if you need to get supplies in because you make your own skincare products, all of that stuff needs to be planned for now, because you want to make sure that you have the supplies that you need so you can create the product that you need so that you can ultimately turn it around and ship it. And for many of you, this holiday season can get really crazy, can get very busy with other things from a promotion standpoint, from customer service standpoint. So you want to make sure you have a good handle on how you're going to handle that inventory. On the service side, it's just as important. For many of you, you may be doing consulting, you may be doing coaching, you may be doing things that are tied to your time. So say, for example, if you plan to be going on holidays, if you plan to be away during during some of these dates, you want to make sure that you don't oversell your product. So if people are looking for maybe a class or one-on-one coaching, or maybe you're doing chefing and you're coming into their house and preparing food, you have to understand what your limit is. Can you only sell 5 of these? And if that's the case, you want to make sure your website is set up for only 5 to be sold, because you don't want to oversell and you're not able to help your customers redeem your service because you don't have it available. Same thing if you're doing anything like packages, because maybe you're a fitness coach, maybe you're a health coach, the same idea. We want to make sure that if someone does buy it during the holiday season, the question is, when can they redeem it? And if they need to redeem it before the holidays, is there enough time to do it? In some of your cases, you may have people buy a product or a package now that is redeemable in January. That's perfectly fine as well. Just want to make sure we get that timing down, because that's going to be very important and very crucial as you move forward. The other thing we want to make sure we're doing for the holidays is really have to think about surge resources. And customer service, I find, is probably the biggest place where you will need extra help. So maybe you kind of have 2 or 3 people in your business, 10 people, 20 people in your business that kind of keep the business running. However, when you think about this holiday time period, and especially if you're expecting to kind of take advantage of many of the kind of promotions and timelines and things that are happening during the holidays, I want to make sure that you thought about who and how, who's going to take care of your customers when they have questions about what promotion, what coupon code, when coupon codes expire and you need to get out the new ones, when product goes out of stock and you need to let them know product is on back order, when product comes back into stock. There's a lot of those details, and they move super duper fast during the holidays, as well as there's a large amount of urgency around it because individuals may be buying your product or your service for someone else. So therefore, they're going to want to know, when is it going to be delivered? When is it going to be available? And so forth. So look at and think about, where do you need help and who can help you make it through this holiday season? Because that's going to be very, very important as you try to get the most of it, because you don't want to do all this great promotion. And then what happens is, in the back end, you don't have someone answering emails, getting back to people within 24 hours or less. And that's another thing to think about. If you normally, let's say, for example, respond to people within 24 to 48 hours, maybe during the holiday season, you're going to have to up that ante. Maybe you're going to respond every 8 hours or every 12 hours. So think about ways that you can truly increase your customer servings, because the timing of getting those responses, the timing of talking to people, responding to people, addressing their issues can not only affect your sales, but what they can also do is affect your potential. Because when people have a great experience, when they get excited, when they order something and it shows up, especially people who are buying early, like in, for Black Friday and all that good stuff, they're more willing to tell their friends. They're more willing to tell others to go to your site and purchase. So we want to make sure we have that buttoned up. And then the last thing we want to get our hands around is shipping dates and carrier commitments. And what I mean by that is, what is the last date that you can ship for to arrive by Christmas, for Hanukkah, for Kwanzaa, for New Year's? Understanding what your different rates mean and how long it takes. So if you're selling ground, what does ground really mean as far as dates and time commitment? Because for many people, they'll opt for the free shipping option, but they may not realize that ground shipping could be up to 7 days or 10 days, depending on where you're located and where they're located. So look at that. What you might want to do is for the holidays, you might offer some of those other shipping options maybe until the end of November. And then starting in December, you may move to options like UPS priority mail, because then you can offer 2-day shipping. You might be moving from FedEx Ground to FedEx 2-day and things like that, or introducing other carriers later in the holiday season, because you want to make sure that the packages are going to get there in a timely manner and people understand what they're committing to, especially if you are a business that needs to ship your product out to your customers. Okay. So we've talked about timing, and we've talked about how timing really, 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 really can have an impact on your holiday marketing season. So now that you guys have kind of got the noodling going and say, okay, Steph, I got some notes of things I have to do. What I want to do is kind of take a look at some, I guess, really 5 to 6 specific things that I think you should be doing this holiday season to prepare. And a lot of this is things that you want to do because you want to make sure you get big sales. And often big sales are equated to having a strong understanding of your promotional calendar. So for any of you out there, if you're thinking about doing a promotion, or I've talked about doing a promotion, or you've like, last year I said I was going to do something. The first step is putting together a calendar and starting to understand, number one, what are the key promotional days that are out there for the holiday season? Now, this is just a handful of days. Understanding truly when Black Friday is, knowing about things like Small Business Saturday, especially if you have a brick and mortar store. Understanding how Black Friday and Cyber Monday work together and what kind of promotion you may be doing on Black Friday, which may be different from Cyber Monday, or do they roll together? Do you roll from Black Friday all the way down into Cyber Monday? Free shipping day. I put any day there because what almost anybody does who has an online store, they normally have at least 1 to 2 free shipping days during the holiday season. People love free shipping because what it is, it's a great equalizer. It helps you kind of get on the same playing field as the stores, because the stores, the local malls and everything are inundating people with come on down, doorbusters, come in at 6 a.m. and so forth. And if your product is not in local stores or maybe in every city, but you do most of your activity online, I want you to make sure you're leveraging things like a free shipping day. Maybe you have 1 or 2 of them, you spread them out and make a big blast out of it. It's just a great way to get some buzz. It's a great way to get people who are going to try your product and with such shipping holding them back. And it's also a great way, like I said, to become an equalizer with some of the stores. Last day to order. This is a very, very important date. And you have to make sure you communicate this to your customer, because they don't know that how your shipping works. They don't know if FedEx picks your stuff up on Mondays and Tuesdays, or if it picks it up and then ships it the next day. That's all your logistics. What a customer needs to know is, what is the last date that I can order something from you with XYZ shipping? So what's the last day I can order for ground and it will arrive by Christmas? What's the last day I can order FedEx 2-day and it will arrive by Christmas? Those types of dates you have to know, and eventually you want to start communicating that. You may put it in emails, you may put it on your website, because that helps not only drive some urgency, but it helps your customers make sure they don't miss an opportunity. Because with so much buzz and noise, and everyone's trying to promote and everyone's trying to, get you to buy this and buy that, what happens is sometimes people are just postponing. They're like, oh, I'll make a decision tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to look around a little bit. Oh, maybe I can get a better price. Oh, I didn't realize it came in this color. All those things that people kind of go through in the buying process, sometimes they can miss out and not realize that if they had bought by Thursday, they would have known that they would have had it in time. So it's really your responsibility and up to you to do it. And it can make a huge, huge difference for your customers if they know that they don't miss that deadline. Because the last thing you want is a customer that's disappointed just because you didn't let them know that they had to order it by that date. Amazon is king on this. They've taken it obviously a step further, because they'll let you know if you order in 50 minutes or in X of 2 hours, it'll ship today. That same concept, you're just going to bring it to your business more on a day basis. All right. And then also looking at dates, not just leading up to Christmas, because A, not everyone celebrates the Christmas holiday. And B, there are other big shopping days. The day after Christmas is probably one of the biggest shopping days during or maybe the second best, I guess I would say, second biggest shopping day of the season, or third. I don't know. It's a debate online, but it's a big day. So therefore, instead of kind of thinking things all the way through to anchoring, I guess, around Christmas, is think about these other dates. Think about how some of these other dates can really drive additional sales opportunities for you, or drive opportunities, especially if you find you're overstocked on inventory. So if you do need to stock up for inventory and you're not sure how the season's going to go, make sure you plan in after Christmas, New Year's promotions, so that can help you drive that inventory down afterwards. You may be doing promotions and maybe doing some discounts, but it's a great way for you to move product post-holiday if you have that planned into the schedule. And like I said before, Christmas is not the only holiday. There's a lot of other holidays going on around this time period. So please be conscious of that, as well as really making sure, I guess my point here is picking the right days for you. For some of you, you may not be able to promote all of these days. We may look at this and say, okay, I can't do 8 promotions. That's just too much. That's perfectly fine. Pick 2 days, pick 3 days. You may decide that I can do all 8, but I'm only going to promote 2 products or 4 products or 6 products. That's perfectly fine. My point here today is to make sure that you have a calendar, and the calendar doesn't have to be extensive. We're not making these huge, grand, year-long plan. What we're trying to do is say, what are the days that we are available to us? And then start to drill into it and say, okay, of the days that we could promote, or there's a natural promotion opportunity, which days will I be promoting? Okay. After you started to get an idea of your days, because it helps us to understand the scope and how frequently and also how much support you'll need, then we have to start to prepare everything. And the biggest difference for many people as far as driving sales during the holiday season is the preparation. For many people try to kind of do it as they go. They kind of put up a promotion, create a couple banner ads, send out an email, and then what happens is the sales start to come in. Then they get busy with sales. They're processing sales, shipping sales, making product, ordering new inventory. And then what happens is the sales start to die down. And the reason being is a person has kind of shifted their focus from promotion to fulfillment. And if you don't have that fulfillment engine going the whole time, if you don't have that fulfillment that promotion engine constantly feeding your business, what you'll have is you may have a kind of lumpiness in your business. You'll during this holiday season, and preparation is what can help you avoid that. Also, that lumpiness for many people is how they miss opportunities. So I highly recommend sitting down, figuring out what you need, and then going step by step. I put this together kind of like a checklist, I would say, for you guys. And what I would say is you really want to kind of go through this step by step and truly say, am I going to need it? What do I need? And what has to be done for that promotion? So if you are going to do a Cyber Monday promotion, let's say, for example, the question will be, what type of updates do I need to do on my website? And I put website plus mobile. What I mean there is also making sure your mobile website is ready and can handle sales. About 53% of people use mobile to make their shopping decisions. So that's over half. So what that means is people are researching. People are using their phones to look up information, to find out about products. Someone mentions it, they bookmark it, they tag it. They're doing a lot of that research. However, with a lot of people, they may do that research on their mobile phone, but often they're forced to wait to go to their desktop or wait to go home because the website is not mobile ready. They can't process orders on the mobile site. Or when you go to the mobile website, everything's tiny and small. You have to kind of like pinch it and widen it and move it around and do all that stuff. So highly, highly recommend have a mobile site ready for the holidays. And not just a mobile site so it looks good, but making sure your shopping cart, your way of buying, because if someone's already researching you, your products online on their phone, what we want to make sure is it's easy for them to just hit buy. They don't have to wait till they come home. They don't have to wait till later. They don't have to wait until someone gets off the computer. They can actually use the device that they use for most of their research to do it. The other thing is think about promo codes, how they're going to expire. Do you have a system that will auto expire? If you sell out of a product, how will you handle selling out? Do you have a banner or a flag that goes on it? Do you put people on back order for when it comes in? Having that kind of discussion and going through this whiteboard exercise is going to be so huge for your business as you move forward. Okay. The other thing that you want to do, especially from a retail standpoint, is if you're going to do brick and mortar, do you need signage? Do you need to train your team? Who's going to be around so they know which promotion's happening where? Are you going to have cheat sheets around the store so people know what's on sale or what products aren't on sale? Because the holidays move fast, especially when you have brick and mortar stores and you have supplies. So knowing what items are marked down, what items are maybe marked down just until Tuesday, then they go back up on sale to regular price on Wednesday. Really diving into that information is going to be key. Now, I don't want to scare some of you because you may be like, oh goodness, Stephanie, you're only on the second little red box on the page, and this already sounds like a ton of work. And the reality is it is a lot of work, but that's because we're trying to win big here this holiday season. But what I also want to say is this is checklist time. This is just literally going through and saying what needs to be done. You really have to decide for your business how big of a promotion you're going to do for the holidays, how much you're going to do, and how much what makes sense for your business. So what I'm trying to do tonight is really outline the full plan, the full kind of look that you should be considering, you should be looking at, you should be thinking about. And then you have to decide, okay, I only have online business, so I don't have to worry about the retail stuff, Stephanie. I only have about 3 or 4 products that I'm going to put on sale, so I don't have that many promo codes, or I'm just going to do a standard promo code, 20% off, 30% off, XYZ. So there are ways to simplify this. I don't want you to think this is just going to be the biggest, craziest campaign you've ever done in your entire life. But I do want to make sure you start with a good checklist. So that's why you want to use a document like this, as well as this is really great weekend work. This is the type of stuff as you're going into this weekend that you grab a whiteboard or a couple blank sheets of paper and you literally just write at the top of the page or on the whiteboard. Put the promotion that you're doing, Black Friday, and literally go through what do I need to your website and just start bullet pointing these things out so that you have an idea of what it takes, as well as the reason why I really want you to etch out the promotional support and the changes and the content and all the information you need for the promotion is because you might sometimes when we do promotions, especially holiday season, we get all fired up and we're like, I'm going to do this and that and all the things, and I'm going to do everything I saw that people did last year. But until you start to write it out, you might not understand the scope of what it may take. So if you take this weekend, spend a couple of hours on this. So this isn't a whole day exercise. This is just maybe a couple of hours looking at a couple of promotions and going through them one-on-one and saying, what do I want to do? And then after you finish looking at all the promotions you want to commit to, what the checklist looks like, meaning what you have to do for each one of these buckets, then deciding, can I do this? Does it make sense? Or from a business perspective, am I going to get the return for doing all of this? Is there less that I can do and still get the same return? Now, for some of you, you're like, Steph, I don't know. I haven't done this. It's hard to tell. In some cases, you just have to test. You have to give it a try. You have to make your best business judgment on what you've done before. So start with the basics. What promotions, what tools have you used in the past that's worked? And figure out what your baseline is. And what that baseline is and what's worked, consider, okay, what for the holidays do I want to add to it? How do I want to sweeten the pot in my promotion? And I'm going to do 2 or 3 more components. I'm going to send out 1 more email. I'm going to do a video. And just kind of tick your way up item by item, as opposed to trying to come up with an exhaustive list of every single promotion you can do. Okay. The other thing I want to just distinguish between is I think there's key things that you need to do kind of on the sales and storefront just so that promotions can be done. People can physically buy, people know what's on sale, people can use their promo codes and all that good stuff. And often you may need like a coder or someone else like that. That's why it's also very, very important you get this stuff done in advance, because many of your coders can code these pages in advance, code all this information in advance, and just make it active the day before or the night before when you need it. But if you plan it in advance, it makes it much easier to turn it on kind of like a light switch, as opposed to staying up all night and trying to get it up and running. And the other thing is I broke up sales kind of as the things that need to be done in-house to make the sales work. But then you also have to look at things from a promotional standpoint, meaning what are the promotional components of my campaign? Because for many of you, where I find people fall down in trying to make the holidays work is they come up with a great plan. They say, okay, I'm going to promote on these days. This is going to be my promotion. This is what I have off. These are the packages I put together. Great. So you created the product, you created the price point, you figured out when the promotion is going to be. But where most people fall short is how is the promotion going to get out to your audience? How are people going to know that you have this great deal? And for many of you, if you don't have your own reach, meaning your own email list, you don't have a big social media following, you don't have a customer list that you can go back to, this is going to be something that really deserves a good amount of your attention, because we have to make sure that we don't just create this awesome promotion and idea and it just sits on the shelf and no one knows it exists. So you have to work to get it out. You have to say, how am I going to email? Who am I going to email? And especially, like I said, if you don't have many assets, you're going to have to figure out how to reach new audiences. And I'll talk tonight a little bit about some ways to do that as well. But also the idea is if you do have an audience, you've been doing this for a while and your business has been steady growing, you're going to have to figure out how often am I going to communicate? So if you're emailing, how frequent are you going to email? Because the holiday season is such a great time for sales. But some of your email lists, if you've been emailing them like once a month for the last 10 months, to all of a sudden start emailing them every 3 days is going to send shockwaves through your email list. So you're going to want to sit down and say, well, how often can I email my list? If I am doing 8 promotions, am I going to email all 8? Or, excuse me, I'm going to send 8 separate emails, or am I going to approach it differently? Is there another way I can get the point across without maybe harassing my email list? Now, for some of you, you email often and constant and your list is used to it. And then also I have some recommendations on ways that you can increase that frequency by creating some special kind of what I call deal hunter list. Other thing is social media. What are you doing where and how does it make it work? I know a lot of times we focus on Facebook, but Pinterest is really a great tool for this holiday season because you can create holiday boards. And especially if anyone has physical products, this is a great way to kind of create gift boards. So gifts for her, gifts for him, gifts under $20, maybe gifts that, you can even do targeting, gifts for baby boomers, gifts for millenniums, gifts for new moms. So you can create really fun boards. You can also use a lot of the new tools like Periscope and so forth to maybe host sessions where you talk about the product and why people should use the product and share kind of more of an experience around the product than just doing some posting. So let's get creative out there and think about that. Also, I highly recommend having some type of advertising plan for the holidays. It is very noisy during this time of year. And for many of you, I want you to be careful that you're not thinking that you can maybe do it all on just doing some social media posts. Sometimes you're going to have to do a little bit of investment, and I'll talk about some smart ways you can do some investment from an advertising standpoint to get some big wins. And then I also talk about local. We got to do the emails and the social medias and the advertising, but for many of you, there may be some great things to do in your local market. So look for pop-up markets. They are I just love pop-up markets. They're kind of like the hip version of a farmers market, where a lot of people will create these markets for small businesses, especially during these holiday seasons. They're not long commitments. They may be 1 day, 2 days, and they pop up in different areas throughout a city or a town. It's a great way to attract new customers. It's a great way for you to get not only in front of new people, but give people exposure and kind of give that one-on-one touch. This, like I said, worked well for services. It worked well for products. So if you guys are my service businesses out there, please don't be shy, because these markets work well for them as well. If you are health coaches, fitness coaches, if you're chefs, you're cookbook authors, this is the best time to get on morning TV shows. Every local market has a morning show, and almost every station, or at least one station in your market, will have a kitchen. And what that means is, normally on the local morning shows, these are the shows that are kind of in your local area, not the Today Show equivalent, but the local show. Often they'll have somebody come in the cooking segment. And with the holidays, they tend to fill up those slots because people are always looking for ways to decorate for the holidays, make a Thanksgiving spread. When people are talking about getting in shape or being healthy, especially as you roll into the January period, they're looking for people to get on those shows. So this is really, really good for service-based businesses or people who are teaching things like cooking and being healthy and fitness, as well as leverage events. And then the last thing from a preparation standpoint is you got to get the content stockpiled. Because while we can say, I'm going to do email, I'm going to do ads, you actually have to create the content. So when you need it, you can just pull it off the shelf. You're not building it as you're promoting it. And what that means is, if you're going to be writing blog posts through November and December, write them now so that it can just be scheduled. Social media, same thing. A lot of these promotions should be written in advance, edited in advance, and set up as scheduled posts. Now, you'll still do things in real time. I'm not saying you're not going to have kind of a real-time approach as well, but a lot of this can be done in advance. If you're going to create shareable images for social media, create them in advance. Have a standard look and feel. Create images with your products so you have holiday imagery around them. So maybe there's a bow in the photo. Maybe there's something that says things like 5 days till Christmas, 10 days till Christmas. Maybe you're even doing something for Black Friday. It's 5 days till Black Friday, 10 hours before Black Friday, anything fun like that you might be even sharing on social media. But the key is doing this stuff in advance, because if you can get about 80% of this done in advance, you will have a much, much higher and much better holiday season. Okay. All right, so let's move to the next one. Looking at time, we are running through time here. So hopefully you guys are going to hang tight with me and hang all the way to the top of the hour. I have a couple more slides and different things that I'd love to recommend on how you can get some big sales. The other thing that I've seen, which is a big trend, not just in the big box stores, but we're also seeing this creep more into the online businesses, is starting to figure out ways to publish your promotional schedule. And what I mean by this is thinking about what promotions, what offers, what savings will be offered to people on which days. The Black Friday holiday has gotten really interesting because it's kind of spread outside of just Friday. You have kind of, opportunities creeping into Thursday. And then with Thursday, Friday, and Saturday having offers, and Cyber Monday on Monday, what a lot of people are finding is they almost need offers that wrap them from Thursday all the way down into Monday. Now, depending on your approach, some of you may only be doing Friday just to give people a much needed break on Thursday from consumerism. But whatever you decide to do, I think it's important to think about, what is your promotion and how will you share it with the world? How will people know what's on sale when, especially if you have promotions that are running together, or you're kind of spreading out the promotions so that people can buy different things at different times. Now, there's a couple reasons why this is important. This is really important, especially if you do a lot of brick and mortar. If you have a brick and mortar store, because what a lot of people do is they spend their Thursday, or as these things are starting to come out, maybe even on Wednesday, people are sitting down in advance and deciding where they are going to shop for the weekend. they are looking at these circulars, looking at these documents and saying, okay, I'm going to go to this store on this day, this store on that day, and so forth. Because it's just so hard to cover all this ground in so much time. The same thing applies for online. If you want someone to shop and buy your stuff from you online before they head out the door, before they go somewhere else, you can do the same thing. You can actually tell them what's on sale which day. So it gives them an opportunity to place those orders, get those things done before or after their other shopping. The other thing, or the other reason I think this is important, especially if you have an online business, not just for brick and mortar, is because this is a great tool that you can send to people early. You could send it to them as early as Monday, as an example, to say, hey, this is the promotions we have planned for you. And I think this is really important for vegan businesses because for many of our products and our services, they're not products that a person can go to the local grocery store and grab off the shelf. They are things that people are kind of special ordering. You know, they're going online and getting them. They're going to your website to buy that product, then going to another website to buy another product. So to make sure that you are in a person's planning season of where they're going to spend their budget, you want to get that promotion out to them as early as possible. And the challenge has been in the past is, well, the promotion is not ready until Friday, so how do I tell someone in advance? And what we're seeing is more and more people are getting used to these types of approaches where you send someone maybe a printable PDF that they can print out and they can plan what items they want and what discounts you'll be offering through at least that Black Friday to Monday holiday. Okay. Let me know if anyone's tried this or anything that I talk about these things on these webinars. I always love feedback on how this goes or how what you guys implement. But I think this is going to be one that you're really going to enjoy because it's a great way to spread out the sales so you don't have so much on sale at the same time, drive some diversity. And also what's nice about doing this approach is now you can drive sales on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, as opposed to just kind of having one big day on Friday or potentially a big day on Monday. You can actually have a reason for someone to shop, someone to show up at your website, someone to look for an opportunity to save or get a deal because you've prepared them for and let them know that what's kind of going on in your business. Okay. The other tip that I'm finding and last minute thing that you can do is making sure you're putting together some type of landing page on your site. And what I mean by that, for some of you, it's literally dressing up your homepage. You may have a banner at the top of your homepage that rotates with product. We want to make sure that banner updates or changes for the days you have promotions and holidays, especially things like Black Friday. Because while I'm all excited about it and I'm talking about it today, it's not really a holiday. It's not really a day that like everybody marks off in their calendar, or it's not like everybody participates. So from a business standpoint, your customers may not know if you are doing a promotion for Black Friday or Cyber Monday. So instead of making them figure it out, find it, look for it, scour through emails, put a nice big image on your header, on your website that says, we are doing Black Friday. It'll start at whatever time you're starting, at midnight or 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. Especially if you're doing online, you can still pick whatever time you want. I like to pick times of days to start things because for big holidays, I want to make sure I'm online. So if I'm doing anything for a client, I like to be physically online. So if they get slammed with a lot of orders one day, any technical issues or anything that could come up, I'm awake, my team's awake, our coders are awake, and so forth, so we can address it quickly. That's why a lot of times I don't have promotion start at like midnight, just because it's hard to get the whole team around. But please think about putting a landing page in place. If you don't have room for that, I have the option here at the top is you might create a countdown at the top, and also just making sure you have that information on there. So putting it up for Black Friday, putting it up for Cyber Monday, and any other days that you are going to be having promotions. So people know you're participating, that you have discounts, and that they should show up at your website. I think a lot of times we get the idea of people showing up at a retail store, but you have to remember, someone has to remember to come to your page on Friday, Thursday, or whatever date we are talking about in the holiday season. Okay. The other thing is I keep talking about Black Friday and Cyber Monday just because they're such huge, big days. And I feel like a lot of people miss out on those opportunities. But please remember, they're just the kickstart of the holiday. So you almost have a good 26, 27 days of sales that's going to happen. And maybe you can even argue a little bit over 35 days as you go into the beginning of January for promotions. So when you're thinking about doing some of these things where we're talking about circulars, we're talking about publishing promotion schedules, updating landing pages, you want to have a plan that takes you through the first week of January. And if anyone's offering a wellness, anyone's a wellness coach, an author, chef, anyone is teaching people healthy eating, fitness, or any of those types of things, your timeline is probably going to extend through January of saying, well, how am I going to let people know if they show up on my page to know I have a promotion, I have something for them, and I have something that's timely that they could be looking for as opposed to searching through your site and trying to figure out what's available to them. Okay. The other thing that I find works really well, especially for sites, if you have a good amount of traffic. For some of you out there, you kind of have a good online site that's generating sales, but you have your standard email list. And I mentioned this before that it gets a little bit challenging to email everyone everything. So what I've seen work well for a lot of people is to kind of create a box, or this could be at the top of a page or at the bottom of the page, or this could be after someone completes an order, maybe over the next 2 months, that they may see this box pop up on their kind of confirmation or thank you page. And what this can allow them to do, or how you would use this, is this would give someone an opportunity to sign up for or get a notification of when your sales begin. It can be kind of the deal catcher email. It can be the the people who are looking for deals. What's nice about this is you can take the traffic that's already coming to your site and turn them into warm leads for the holidays. And while you'll still send out an email to your bigger list or main list during the holidays, this group has already told you that, hey, I'm hungry for a deal. I'm looking for promotions. I'm looking for that information. And it's nice to be able to flag them in your database or have them sign up in a separate list, whether you're using MailChimp or Aweber or whatever email marketing tool you're using that maybe even comes with your shopping cart. But this is a great way to get people who are already gung-ho, who are already saying, hey, I want to know what's going on. Keep me in the know, getting them on the list. Because this group, you will be able to email more frequently, more often, and be able to push out many of those messages that we talked about before. Okay? Other thing I want to talk about as we're trying to wrap up here is advertising. Like I had mentioned before, advertising is a huge part of promotions. I know for many of you, it can feel a little tricky when you think about the budget and how much money am I going to spend on this, and I don't know if I have the money. You may have to do something small. Maybe you're doing $5 or $10 a day, so we're not talking a huge budget. But what I want you to do is I want you to do what they call targeted Facebook ads. And I'm not sure if everyone's aware of this, but you can take your email list and upload it to Facebook or Twitter, and then target your ads specifically to the people who are on your email list that happen to also be in Facebook or in Twitter. When I say Facebook or Twitter, they're separate advertising campaigns. They just both have that feature. And I just showed you the box here on the left-hand side of the page where it talks about, creating a custom audience, and see how it says upload a file or copy a list or import from MailChimp. This is just the Facebook example, but it's a very, very simple and easy way that you can upload your information. What they do is they match the email address that you have with an email address they happen to have on file, let's say for on Facebook, and they'll say, oh, yep, that person is in Facebook. And then when you start to advertise, those people will see all the ads that you're putting out there. The reason I like to target your list in Facebook advertisement is your lists tend to be a little bit warmer leads than often if you're just doing, advertising out to the general population. These are people that are familiar with who you are, your product, and so forth. So it's more likely that they're going to convert. Also, depending on how you interact and who's on your list, maybe you have a list like we talked about earlier, is kind of your deal catcher list. Those people you may upload and put in specific ads for them because they said they're interested in deals. So if you're going to have a daily deal, you're going to do 12 days of deals, then use Facebook to make that happen. upload each deal for each day, have it go out to that list, and they'll be able to see it. And that can be A, scheduled way in advance, and B, can be set up on autopilot. The other thing I like about using a lot of these ad campaigns is you can put the track, what they call conversion code, on your website. So you will know how many conversions come from these ads, and that'll help you make a decision on, do you want to increase that budget from $5 or $10 a day to a little bit higher, because you can start to see if it's driving a little bit more traction for you. So this is, I find, a really, really great way to supplement your promotions for the holiday season, as well as turn people on your email list. The same thing with customers. If you're going to, if you have a strong customer list of people who've purchased from you before, purchased from you last year, and so forth, this is a great opportunity for you to put ads up there and then target the ads to that list. So people who are customers, those ads are going to speak a little bit different and look a little bit different than maybe people who are on your email list and haven't purchased, or may look a little bit different from people who are on your deal catcher list, and so forth. Okay. The other thing we didn't get a chance to talk about, and I'm just realizing the time, is I want to talk about bundling and creating packages and so forth. I meant to talk about that a couple of slides ago. Is when you're preparing for the holidays, especially creating opportunities to drive big sales, one of the other big things that you want to do for the holidays is create bundled services. For many of you out there, you may have some fairly inexpensive product offerings. You know, you may have a $10, $5, $15 item. So if you want to increase your sales for the holidays, what you want to do is bundle that together. Create a package for people. Create a starter kit. Create a kit, especially if you're going to, maybe since you sell makeup items, create a makeup kit, you know, with brushes, with lipsticks, with blushes. If you do, maybe you do hair products. So create a package for hair. I just bought something for my husband. He's growing a beard now. So they have like a little beard starter kit. So it's got the soap you can wash his beard with. It's got the oil, the conditioner. It even have a little comb in it. Think about those types of things, because I think what we forget during the holiday season is people are buying gifts. And for many people, some people, they know these people really well because they're a close family member. And sometimes people know a person loosely. So they know that a person is doing A, B, and C, or a person is interested in A, B, and C, but it can be a little bit difficult for them to pick out 4 or 5 items, especially when they're starting with $5 and $10 price points. But if you have an extra starter kit or beginner kit, or, the basics kit, or even an advanced kit, maybe you create a kit with your books. Maybe you're a book author and you write a couple of cookbooks, and you may string together 3 of your books that people can buy. That is great for someone who's been vegan for a while. So this is your advanced cookbook segments versus some of your other cookbooks, or maybe for the newbies. Helping people do that makes it easier for them to find a gift in the price point they want. So that way they can find a gift that's 25, 30, 40, 50 without you recreating a product. You're just now bundling them together. The other benefit of bundling the products together is when you start to offer a discount now your discount is offer a higher price point. So this is a great way of not kind of giving it away, as I talk about a lot of times, is because when you can start to create a $30, $40, $50 bundle, and then you're doing 20% off is still a real number and a significant number, or maybe even 30% off, but you have a lot more margin in that product because you've bundled multiple products together. So what I want you to do is think that. Same thing on the service side. I just talked about product, but the same thing is on the service side. So if you're going to be offering, especially something maybe around fitness, you may be doing a fitness package. You may be doing a 3-month package where someone can hire you to train them or work with you one-on-one. If you're doing some coaching, maybe you're going to set it up as coaching packages, as opposed to someone getting 1 hour or 2 hours on the phone with you for consults. Maybe they can buy a 3-pack or 8-pack or something like that. The other thing you can do from a coaching standpoint is string together some of your other packages. So say, for example, you offer consults, you have an online class, and then maybe you also have an in-person class that you do as well. Bundle those together so that people get a coaching session, or maybe you have a book. So they can get the book, they can get an online class, and then they can also attend any one of your in-person cooking classes within the next, within 2016 with this pass. So they got like a ticket pass. It's a great way to now sell someone more than one service at a time. And it's a great way for them to get integrated with what you do, as well as it's a great way to help you teach people how to logically use your services together. Services, for some people, can be a little bit difficult and kind of challenging on like, how do I position it and how do I buy it and how do I give it to someone as a gift? But when you do that for them, it makes it so much easier for them to buy. So it's easier for someone to say, oh, I know this person's been thinking about going veg or going vegan, or they've been veg and they've talked about vegan. I want to buy them a gift. I'm going to buy them XYZ Chef Starter Kit, which is a book, an online class, and a ticket to their class. That sounds more like a substantial gift. It sounds more like something that can really drive change. And it's a great way to support someone in 3 different ways and 3 different ways of learning. So I feel like when you're thinking about trying to win big this holiday season, is really consider how can you bundle those services together to not only increase that price point, but also allow people or help people to give a more complete gift, as well as a gift that allows a person to get multiple touch points with you as well. Okay. Now I know we weren't able to get the website working, so I'm just going to check and see if there's any questions on Twitter or anything I missed. As always, I should have the website fixed once I jump off. I think there's a couple small things I might be able to do, or I'll have to check and see if my coder was able to fix it while I was on the line here. So you can always come back and post your questions there. This replay will be up for the next 2 weeks. So you can come back and watch it again. You can reference it. You can come back and post a question. I'll be here to check out your questions. As well as you can always email me, as always, Stephanie@Vegan Mainstream, if you have a quick question about what we talked about today, how it would work for your business. And I'd love, as I always say, to hear feedback. So let me know if you guys are doing some of these things, have done some of these things, or once you wrap up your holiday season, how it goes, because I do think it's such a wonderful time for a business to really offer your products to people, and get new people to try it, get people to send them as gifts, engage existing customers, and get your existing customers to help you promote your product to their friends, their family, their circles. As well as I started at the beginning of this webinar saying that this can really be a huge time of business that can change your business around, that financially can make a difference. And this applies for everyone. It even applies for restaurants as an example. So many people eat out during the holidays. So many people give out gift certificates. So many people always do the last minute gifts. So if you're a highly regarded restaurant or vegan restaurant, think about that. Think about the idea of maybe swinging up for the last minute gift ideas. As well as I think one thing that's always great is if you do sell a lot of gift certificates, make sure that you, and your customers buy gift certificates, swing it the other way. Email out and let your customers know, hey, make sure you redeem the gift certificates that you received at my store, at my location. Because for many people these days, they're not necessarily getting store-specific gift certificates. They're getting American Express ones, Visas, MasterCard. So they got $25 to spend anywhere. Why not send that money towards your direction? So I really hope today's webinar has kind of got your juices flowing, have got you thinking about putting together that calendar, starting to build a checklist around how you're going to promote, and also giving you some ideas or some ways to help get the promotional ideas out to your customers, help reach new people, and also engage your existing customers by using ads like on Facebook and Twitter ads to your email list. So I hope today has been a little bit eye-opening, maybe a little bit motivating, as well as inspirational, so that you can really turn this holiday into a great opportunity to have some big wins. Okay, so with that, thanks so much everyone for joining me tonight. And as always, had a blast, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon. All right, take care. Bye.